Everyone knows how big the United States is. Just like the variation in culture, traditions and populations, the living standards of the US also vary. There is a difference between the cost of living in one state and the other. In this video, we are going to share the top 10 cheapest states to live in the United States in 2022. So, let's get started. 10. Indiana. The state of Indiana was named after the Native Americans. Indiana means Indian land. Indiana is known for vast farmlands, corn and of course the Indianapolis Colts. Indiana is the least expensive northern state to live in, firmly followed by adjoining Iowa. Regular food items are among the least expensive in the country here. Notwithstanding, transportation cost is just barely below the national average. In the Hoosier state, average houses cost $206,422. Normal expenses are 10% below the national average, and expenses in all classifications are below the national average. Housing in Indiana is the 8th least expensive in the United States. Single-family homes cost a normal of $185,805, while rents run $840 per month for a two-room unit. Utilities are simply below the national average too. Medical services costs are among the lowest in the country. The median income for a family of 4 is $90,654, while the living wage for a family in Indiana is $81,321. 9. West Virginia. The state's undulating mountains, hills, and valleys have given it the moniker the Mountain State, and it's recognized for a variety of outdoor activities such as hiking, mountain biking, skiing, and whitewater rafting. West Virginia is one of the states that figured out how to hold probably the most reduced housing costs. The average home cost is at present $126,948 and it is one of the least expensive on our rundown. Transportation and healthcare costs are also among the lowest in the nation, further adding to low living expenses. The median income in West Virginia is $73,600 for a family of 4. In any case, the living cost for a family of 4 in West Virginia is $86,704 every year. West Virginia has the country's 4th most highest poverty rate, with 16% of its residents living at or below the poverty line. 8. Iowa. Iowa is known for its agriculture industry of mainly corn and pork, its location on both the Mississippi River and the Missouri River and its beautiful state parks. It is the 8th cheapest state to live in the United States in our list. States with low lease are intriguing, yet Iowa is among them. The typical lease for a one-room loft is around $600, so the state is among the most reasonable states for leasing. In spite of the development of the real estate market and an increment of 12.5%, the average home cost is at $180,839. The average income in Iowa is $95,199 for a family of 4. Fundamentally higher than the $89,241 expected to cover similar families' requirements for a year. Iowa's poverty rate is 11%, which is below the national average too. 7. Missouri. Missouri is a great place to live, and has something for everyone. Cities, rural areas, culture, nature, sports, great food and so much more. The cost for many everyday items here is low, essentially a result of reasonable housing. Transportation and basic foods prices are likewise beneath the average for the country. The living cost for a family of 4 in Missouri is $86,410 per year, while the median income is $89,418. The minimum wage permitted by law in Missouri is $11.15 per hour, one of the greatest in the country. Missouri's cost is below the national average on all measurements for most everyday items, with particularly low expenses related with well-being and transportation. 6. Tennessee. One more southern state, Tennessee, comes on the rundown of least expensive states in the country. It borders with 8 other states. This makes Tennessee, along with Missouri, the state with the most neighboring states. It is known for country music and whiskey. Modest housing in the US can be difficult to find, yet not here. You'll pay around 20% lower than the national average. Different elements adding to the minimal expense of living incorporate the shortfall of a state personal assessment and somewhat less expensive food. The living cost for a family of 4 in Tennessee is $78,800 per year. The median income for a similar family is $85,923. The unemployment rate in the state is 3.4%, while the poverty rate is 13.8%. 5. Georgia. Another southern state, Georgia. Although known as the Peach State, peanuts are the crop atop Georgia's production list. Basic food item costs are practically 5% beneath the national average. Besides, modest housing cuts down the typical cost for many everyday items. Atlanta is even more costly than the remainder of the state, while average home costs have leapt to $287,458, with a 25.9% increase somewhat recently. Right now, Georgia is the least expensive blue state to live in. Regardless of having the country's most reduced minimum wage permitted by law, at $5.15 per hour, salaries are by and large to the point of taking care of the expenses of living in the state. The median income for a family of 4 in Georgia is $91,161 every year. A similar family would require just $85,101 every year to cover essential costs. Georgia has an unemployment rate of 3.2%, which is below the normal. 4. Oklahoma. This state is known and famous for its natural wonders, aviation and oil industry, and high number of tornadoes. Oklahoma has reasonably cheap housing too. The housing cost index in the state is simply 74.7, making it around 25% less expensive than the U.S. normal. The typical recorded home cost here is around $167,450. Oklahoma is among the most reasonable spots to live in for several reasons. Regular food items are somewhat more affordable, and transportation costs are roughly 5% below the national average. The median income for a family of 4 in Oklahoma is $78,458 per year. Nevertheless, the living wage for a family of 4 is $86,333. Oklahoma has one of the highest rates of poverty in the country as a result of this inequality. A quarter of the population lives on or around the poverty level. The poverty rate among youngsters is around 20%. Oklahoma has also routinely ranked as one of the most unlivable states in the country. 3. Alabama. Alabama is known for peanuts, southern hospitality, the beautiful Gulf Coast beaches, and college American football. With a cost of living index of 87.9, Alabama is the third cheapest state in the country. Housing in the state is only second to Mississippi in terms of affordability. In Alabama, the average single-family home sells for $170,184. Across the state, the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is $807. Alabama's health and transportation expenditures are among the lowest in the country, but utilities and food are closer to the national average. To pay their costs, a family of 4 in Alabama needs a yearly income of $80,777. A family of 4 earns $80,845 per year on average. With 15.6% of inhabitants living at or below the poverty level, Alabama has one of the highest poverty rates in the country. 2. Kansas. As indicated by Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, there's no spot like home, and that is unquestionably valid for her home state. This landlocked region has probably the most reduced housing costs in the nation, despite the fact that somewhat recently, costs have increased by 14.4%. Kansas is as yet the second least expensive state in the U.S. The average house cost in the state is $194,951. By and large, it's feasible to lease an 895 square foot condo for $1,133 each month. That is around 65% less expensive than a one-room loft in New York. Regular food items are more reasonable in Kansas as well. Milk presently costs $1.99 per gallon, and meat is simply $3.79 per pound. The living wage in Kansas is $89,353 every year for a family of 4. The median income for a family of 4 is $92,980. Kansas has a poverty rate somewhat below the national average and one of the least unemployment rates in the country, at 2.5%. 1. Mississippi. The cheapest state in the U.S. to live in is Mississippi. Known as both the Magnolia and Hospitality State, it played a key role in the United States Civil War. It is home to a wide variety of historical monuments and museums. It has the most reduced housing expenses of basically any states, with an average home estimation of just $157,885, permitting individuals who move to the area to profit from modest lease and more modest home loans. Different benefits include suboptimal transportation, low utility, and low staple expenses. Despite the cheap cost of living, Mississippi has the country's highest poverty rate, with roughly a fifth of citizens living at or below the poverty line. Mississippi has routinely regarded as one of the worst states to live in, owing to worries about the economy and education. To cover their demands, a family of 4 needs an annual income of $80,523. Meanwhile, a family of 4 has a typical income of $70,656. With this, we reached the end of the video. We hope that you enjoyed it and gained some knowledge about the cheapest states to live in the United States. Also, like and share the video with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more interesting, informational videos and updates. Until then, stay blessed and stay safe. Bye.